It's Tuesday somewhere in Ontario, and we're back again for another episode of Two Drink Minimum. It's Dave here again. I've biscuited the dogs, so hopefully they will be quiet while I get this video shot. If they do start barking at the squirrels outside, my apologies. They're dogs. Anyway, a lot to go over today. We're going to start with some sad news. Yesterday I learned of the passing away of actor Gene Wilder. A big favorite of mine growing up. Some of his movies I still watch to this day. Great stuff. Blazing Saddles, he was amazing in that. Stir Crazy with Richard Pryor. See No Evil, Hear No Evil. If you've never seen that one. Young Frankenstein, obviously. The guy was amazing. Willy Wonka and a bunch of other flicks too. So yeah, passed away Sunday evening at the age of 83 from complications resulting from Alzheimer's. Damn. Another thing that I missed a little while back, a couple weeks ago, was Kenny Baker. Again, another hugely famous person. For those who don't know, Chewie, get down. For those who don't know, he was the small person inside the R2-D2 throughout the original trilogy. He passed away a couple of weeks ago at the age of 83 also. Very sad, very sad. Death is just kicking our ass this year, it seems. I'm still willing to give up Kanye if they'll give us back Prince and Bowie, but, you know, what can we do? Anyway, on to some more exciting and positive news. They have announced, well, Ben Affleck actually posted a video online of what looked like Deathstroke walking towards camera in full costume. Some speculate that that's from the Justice League movie. I've also heard recently that Deathstroke's going to be the main bad guy in the standalone Batman film. So that should prove pretty interesting. No one's quite sure who's playing him yet. Rumor has it it's Joe Manganiello, who is the huge-ass guy that was actually, ironically, Flash Thompson in the 2002 Spider-Man movie. He looks a lot different now, obviously, but some people are complaining that it should be Manu Bennett, who played Deathstroke in Arrow Season 2. He was really good. Not as big a name, though, if you're going for motion picture compared to small screen. Again, probably the same reason that Ezra Miller is playing Flash and not poor Grant Gustin. But either one of those two, I would be happy with. I think Manu Bennett did a great job as Deathstroke in Season 2 of Arrow. One of the best seasons of the show, actually, quite honestly, hands down. That one scene in Season 2 where Oliver walks into the study at his house and his mom's sitting there talking to Slade Wilson. Oh, great scene, great scene. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend checking out Arrow. Video game news. We have, I'll give you a little breakdown of what I thought of the Batman Telltale game. I've only played the first episode so far, because obviously episode 2 is not out yet. Come on, Telltale, get on it. But really fun, very different kind of game. If anyone's expecting the Arkham City kind of style, no, not at all. A lot more choice-based, a lot more time spent as Bruce Wayne compared to being Batman. But really worth a playthrough. The whole episode took me about an hour and change to get through. So for, $5 or $6 they charge for it, not bad. You can get the season pass for, I think it's $30 Canadian, $24.99 US. We always get screwed up here with the exchange rate. Our Monopoly money is worth nothing right now, so what can you do? But definitely worth checking out. Episode 2, I should say, is supposedly launching this week coming up. I heard September 6th. So keep an eye out for that on the PlayStation Store and the Xbox Store. And like I said, you can buy the Season Pass, which gives you access to all 5 of the episodes as they become available. Other video game news, we've got some new DLC coming out for Star Wars Battlefront, for those who still own the game and didn't get totally pissed off about the Season Pass thing and get rid of it. But I'm pretty excited for the new expansion. It's going to be the Death Star. There's apparently 3 phases to the expansion pack, where the first phase is you've got to take out TIE fighters around the Star Destroyer long enough to get the Y-Wings in to bomb the Star Destroyer and knock it out of the sky. Then it will switch to inside the Death Star, where you've got to run around and capture some droid that's on the Death Star, which happens to be R2-D2, I've heard. Chewbacca and Bosk are the new playable characters. No real details exactly on what their powers are going to be or whatnot, but looking forward to that. And then the final stage, which I'm totally psyched for, you get to do the trench run and blow up the Death Star. So I'm going to have to practice up and hone my fighter squadron skills before that expansion comes out. I've heard season pass holders are getting it sometime early September, and then everyone else sometime early October, I've heard. Again, it's going to be probably about $20 for the expansion, standard fare. But yeah, definitely keep a lookout for that. Since today is Tuesday, it is new release day. The biggest movie out this week on Blu-ray is The Jungle Book, which I still have not watched all the way through because of Chewie. He tends to freak out when animals are on TV and it's not him. So, got great reviews, great critic reviews, great audience reviews. Jon Favreau directed it again. From the little bit that I watched, it's pretty good. I was kind of on the fence when I heard that Disney was going to start doing live action of all their animated stuff, but if they keep this trend up with this quality, then hey, giddy up. Upcoming Blu-rays. Got a little short list here for the next couple months. Civil War, September 13th. I mentioned that on my last episode. Again, 3D, regular steelbook and all that. Good list of special features. They don't give the run times with the special features, so I'm hoping it's not just like 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. I want to see some lengthy, I would want like an hour and something documentary and like a 40-minute piece just on how they did the airport scene, because that was just fantastic. The scene where they're all just kicking each other's ass, Spider-Man shows up. Great scene. I'd love to see some behind the scenes on that. Apocalypse, the new X-Men movie, October 4th. Some people hated it. I didn't think it was that bad. I thought there were some issues with it overall. But, that's coming out October 4th. Ghostbusters. I watched that one. The funny thing with the Ghostbusters movie, the most hilarious character in the whole film, ironically, was Chris Hemsworth. Other than that, the movie was kind of, I don't know. Wasn't thrilled with it. Nothing to do with the fact that it was 4 female cast members instead of the original guys. I don't have an issue with that at all. I didn't find it as funny as it should have been. The same day as Ghostbusters is Legend of Tarzan's coming out with Alex Skarsgård and Margot Robbie. That movie was actually not bad. The critics really blasted it when it first came out. I watched it. It was decent. I mean, it was definitely not like the Tarzan movie I remember from my youth was Greystoke, The Legend of Tarzan, with Christopher Lambert from Highlander playing the title role. And I believe it was Andy McDowell's first movie too. It was way back in like 82 that came out, but really good movie. Very true to the roots of the original novel of Tarzan and the story, so it wasn't bad. Legend of Tarzan, again, kind of Hollywoodized the thing, turned it into more of an action-adventure, comic booky sort of deal. Worth checking out if you can get it for cheap, or find it streaming or something like that. But yeah. And October 18th is the sequel to Independence Day, which was, oh my god, bad. Why does Liam Hemsworth keep getting work in Hollywood? It's almost like the Jai Courtney thing. The guy can't act. I mean, sure, he's Thor's little brother. Yeah, he's going out with Miley Cyrus. Who gives a crap? The movie was awful. That's the reason. Apparently they wrote 2 scripts, one with Will Smith and one without Will Smith. And Will Smith looked at the script and said, fuck this, and went and did Suicide Squad, which, good on him. The movie did a lot better than Independence Day did. I think the main problem, though, is that they waited 20-something years, well, literally 20 years, to make the sequel, and by then it's like, who fucking cares anymore? Like, you should have put the sequel out in like 2000, 2002, somewhere around there when it was still, fresh in people's minds, because in the original Independence Day, when that came out, was killer at the box office. People loved it. It had a good amount of charisma. The story was obviously with sci-fi aliens coming down from outer space, but there was enough good characters and, you know, situations and everything else in that movie to make it watchable and enjoyable. This one, it just feels like they just threw everything into a blender and be like, okay, well, let's just refer to 1996 and try to remember, make people remember that there was an original movie. But, you know, most of the audience they're shooting for right now wasn't barely even alive in 96 when that first one came out. So I don't know. It might do better on VHS, on DVD or Blu-ray than it did in theaters. It's sometimes the case with these movies that tank and then they get a huge following after the fact. But I'm not holding out any hopes for that one, and I'm definitely not going to be purchasing it on Blu-ray or probably ever watching it again. The first time through was painstakingly excruciating enough. Wrapping it up, I did promise you guys the 411 on what I thought about Sausage Party. How to explain this movie? When I saw the first trailers, I was laughing. It looked like a great premise, really funny concept. Then I watched the movie. It's funny. Yes, it is funny. There were some good laughs. Did I laugh the whole time through? Not really. It felt like they took like one of those little Pixar animated 12-minute, 15-minute, 10-minute shorts and like stretched it out to like feature length, which was almost too much. Definitely not for kids. Do not bring your children to go see this movie. Sure, talking hot dogs, that looks great, but then they start dropping the F-bomb every second word, and it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse from there. So please, don't bring your kids. For everyone else, for those of adult age or, you know, age appropriate enough to see this movie, because it is a hard R. Be warned, they do not pull any punches. Any race, gender, religion, you name it, is fair game. The voice work is pretty good. Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill, Michael Cera, Kristen Wiig, Nick Kroll, Craig Robinson shows up, Bill Hader. The usual guys that do all those Seth Rogen flicks like This Is the End and Neighbors and everything. So, yeah, I mean, there were some funny parts. I don't really, like, spoilers, I don't know why they included the bath salts storyline in this. I mean, that shit is scary, the bath salt thing. I mean, remember the story a couple years back where some homeless guy was eating some dude's face off, or vice versa, and he was high on bath salt? Like, scary shit. The ending of the movie ends up with literally a food orgy, so be warned of that. It's outrageous beyond compare. But yeah, I mean, it's a good movie if you want to sit down and, you know, have a couple of beers and sit there with your buddies and have a good laugh for an hour and 20 minutes. Other than that, I don't really think. I mean, I could be wrong. It is sitting at 80-something% on Rotten Tomatoes right now compared to the 27 or 28% that Suicide Squad has. So the critics are loving it. The audience is kind of skewed halfway through the middle. Some people love it. Some people thought it was too much. But, you know, definitely worth going and checking out. Get your own opinion in there, obviously. You know, reviews are always good, sort of a sounding board to determine, you know, initial thoughts of, am I really going to like this or am I going to hate it? I don't usually go according to the reviews. A lot of times, most of the time, when I've seen a review and they've said the movie sucks, I've loved it, and vice versa. They've said it was incredible, and I was like, half asleep halfway through the movie. But definitely worth checking out either which way. Yeah. So, Chewy's starting to get a little antsy. I think there's a squirrel in the backyard. So, we're going to call it a day here for now. Look for another video soon. I'm going to try and get some more movies watched in the next day or so. I got a couple days off from work. So, yeah, probably try and do another episode. Most likely this weekend, early next week. But we'll figure out what the schedule's looking like. In the meantime, tell all your friends, like, subscribe, comment below. I've got 4 subscribers now. Woohoo! I'm Unfortunately, one of them is my wife and one of them is my buddy out west. And then there's 2 other random people. Thank you for subscribing. Hope you keep watching. Tell all your friends. Like, share, comment if you want to see any stuff for me to discuss on the show. And yeah, until next time, from somewhere in Ontario, we'll see you soon. Ciao.